What is up, YouTube? Welcome to PanFro Games. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down everything we just saw from the brand new Pokemon game, Pokemon Legends ZA, and we're also going to talk about some theories, and I am so damn excited for this game. I really cannot wait. And of course, guys, if you like this type of content, enjoy these videos, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it. Consider supporting the channel by joining the Pan Fam and that join channel member button below. So diving right into it, Pokemon Legends ZA is our brand new Pokemon game, and here is our logo. Now, our logo is very interesting because, one, just looking at this logo, we know it's a Legends game, which means, one, Legends is getting a sequel in quotes, but I think it'll be more of a Legends style game, meaning there is going to be catching Pokemon in the open world. That probably means shiny overworld sparkles will make a return, and I'm assuming the combat system is going to be returning as well with agile style and strong style. Of course, I do assume they're going to change a lot of different things, update it and make improvements and add new mechanics on top of that, but that is the type of video game that we should be expecting. And it's also just one video game. There is no second version. It is going to be just Pokemon Legends ZA. Now, we know it's also going to be releasing in 2025 and on Nintendo Switch systems, but the systems has an S, so they could also be talking about all Nintendo Switch systems, you know, like OLED and the Lite. But in 2025, we know that the Switch 2, or whatever the Switch is going to be called, is going to be releasing in 2025. So this is probably going to be releasing both on the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 day and date. And yes, it's going to have a worldwide release all at the same time, which is pretty hype. I'm very excited, but this does mean there is no Pokemon game for 2024. There is no Pokemon game for 2024. We are just gonna have to play Scarlet and Violet until this game comes out. I am assuming it'll be releasing probably March or April of 2025, just because, you know, that's like the first part. That's Q1. March is the end of Q1, which would make a lot of sense to me. And if the Switch will release in March of 2025, then it could be a launch title potentially, and also releasing on the original Switch so we can all play it anyways. Now, the biggest piece of news to drop from this trailer is the entire adventure is set in Lumiose City. Lumiose City is the entire video game. And before I was not that hyped, but now I'm incredibly excited because this means we can have a massive city. We have buildings we can walk into, a lot of NPCs around. It's gonna be packed, it's gonna be dense, and I think this is gonna be absolutely great for the series in general to be more of a cyberpunk like GTA type of experience, in the sense that we're gonna be focused on one point in the city. And even though, yeah, a city isn't as big as a big open world, you can still make a city big in a video game and have a lot of density to it and volume to it to make it feel as big as something like a Scarlet and Violet. And I'm just incredibly excited to see how that goes. Now, looking at some images here, so this is from the trailer of Lumiose City here. We have a blueprint, and the whole trailer was blueprints of the city, because this is going to be a redevelopment plan, an urban redevelopment plan of the city. And we have like this blueprint sketched, and this seems to be more of like an updated version of it, which is pretty interesting. It's almost the same. This one has a lot more detail, like the parks are actually filled in here. So this is probably what the map will actually look like in the final game. And you can see like the nooks and crannies here. Like there's a lot of like, there's the 5 or 6 main streets here, right? But then there's like all of these little side streets, all these buildings. And you know, some of these buildings are incredibly tall. So it'll be like 6-story, 7-story buildings that we can go into. So I'm just super excited from that point of view of, yeah, it's just the city, but look how many buildings are in this city that we're going to be able to have access to and explore. And of course, there's like a sewer underground as well as that. And let's be real, just because it says the city is the entire game doesn't mean we won't be able to explore the outskirts of the city either. So we have a lot of possibilities of this game. And of course, it's going to be a lot more detailed, a lot more dense, a lot more volume than the original X and Y releases. So I could really not compare it to even that, because this is also going to be running on a lot more powerful hardware as well, which is incredibly exciting for us. Now, talking about the urban redevelopment plan. So we know that the city is being rebuilt, and it seems like the city is being rebuilt while we are in the game. So we are probably going to be rebuilding this city as our main story objective. And you notice that there's a bunch of different districts in here, right? And I wouldn't be surprised, let's say theory time, let's say similar to the anime, Zygarde attacked and destroyed the city. I mean, we know Zygarde's in the game. The game is called ZA with the Zygarde scales and colors. Like, we know Zygarde is in the game for sure. So what if Zygarde came in and destroyed parts of the city, and now we have to rebuild it? So that would give us the reason why we have to redevelop this. And also, it would be interesting how this ties into gameplay, because let's say we redevelop this district in the bottom left right here. If we redevelop this district, then this will give us more access to different Pokemon that you can't normally catch in that area or in other areas. And it will also allow us to get like more items, more Pokeballs, and things like that. So I can see some sort of like story system where we need to fix every district in the game, which would make a lot of sense. I mean, they're also like perfectly cut up in slices too. So I can definitely see that being our big why and our story progression marker. The big question is who destroyed the city, and it's like probably Team Zygarde and like Team Flare probably had something to do with it. But as I said, Zygarde did destroy the city in the Pokemon anime. Wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens again. Like I mentioned, clearly the game is Pokemon A, which is incredibly interesting that they're even doing something like this. Another big thing is we need to talk about a vision of beautiful coexistence between people and Pokemon. So Pokemon are just going to be running around this entire city. We're going to be catching Pokemon in the wild, and you can even sort of see it in the trailer here. Like, we have this Pikachu running around, and you can just see wild Pokemon just hanging out by themselves. So we can't assume every Pokemon we see is going to have a trainer. There's definitely going to be trainer fights, no doubt. And I think there's going to be a heavy emphasis on trainer fights more than Pokemon Legends Arceus will, because we're in an entire city full of people. But it just seems like there's just a lot of Pokemon just hanging out around, and we can just catch them. And at this point in the trailer, we can even see this person over here. I'm covering it a little bit, but you can see that this trainer here is catching this wild Dragonair with this Hawlucha behind them. So we know we're going to be catching Pokemon in this city, and since the city is going to be so much bigger and there are parks and there is like an underground sewer system, I'm sure those are going to be like the main places to actually go ahead and catch Pokemon, which I do think is going to be incredibly exciting to catch Pokemon in a whole new urban environment. But as you can see, like, we have trainers walking around, and there is a Pokemon battle in the middle of the city, which is definitely a big emphasis on us actually having trainer battles this time around, which is so incredibly exciting for me, because that was one of the biggest disappointments of Pokemon Legends Arceus, that there were not a lot of trainer battles at all, only a few repeatable ones, and just the one sort of like in the like home base area, which I thought was really lame. So I'm really excited to see what they do with the battle style here. So I'm just incredibly excited for that, honestly. But I don't think there's going to be like VGC for this. I do think there'll be like online PvP. Now, more into the theory side of things now, because there isn't too much that we know about. But PLDH net reports here, Pokemon Legends ZA's official blurb describes the game as shaping the city into a place that belongs to both people and Pokemon. And the logo connects a more industrial sci-fi looking Z to a natural A. Maybe the goal is to bring the Pokemon spawns into the city, and I agree, because we're trying to redevelop the city, make perfect harmony between people and Pokemon. It would make a lot of sense that we are trying to get more Pokemon species to come into the city, which goes back to my theory. We got to rebuild the districts. If we complete a district, then more Pokemon will go into this area of the town, and then we can go in there and catch a new Pokemon, and that'll be incredibly exciting for a gameplay aspect. Now, we also got Mega Evolutions, and Mega Evolutions are back. Kalos is the region of Megas, and I'm going to say this, I do think we're going to get new Mega Evolutions. I wouldn't be surprised if we somehow got like a Zygarde Mega, a Yveltal Mega, a Xerneas Mega. Would not be surprised if we saw any of that, or them having new forms or something. But we're definitely going to be having Megas, and probably some old Megas. Maybe Mega Flygon will finally happen. But I'm just excited to see an old mechanic getting, reinforced again and probably updated. And I do wonder if this means we're going to see wild mega Pokemon. I'm sure trainers we're going to fight are going to have mega Pokemon, but what if there's wild alpha mega Pokemon? This is a Legends game. I'm sure alphas are going to exist. That would make a lot of sense. Now you're probably going to be saying, well, megas can't really exist without a trainer using them. Well, what if there's a plot element where Zygarde cores are everywhere and you got to defeat the megas who ate the Zygarde cores because, you know, they ate the cores, they became a mega, so you got to defeat them to get the cores. That could be one thing. Or who knows? There's probably some sort of plot reason if that happens in general. Remember, it's a Pokemon game. They update the lore all the time. I just take it too seriously at the end of the day here. But reading this tweet, the urban focus also makes sense given that Kalos was defined by its mega evolution, which are tied to trainers. PLA shifted to emphasis away from trainer battles to serving battle wild Pokemon. It makes a sense for Legends ZA to focus on trainer battles more in comparison, which I completely agree with. Now, reporting what Centro thinks. Centro does think, as I was mentioned before, GTA and Cyberpunk 2077 seem to make a lot of sense in this regard of what they're going for, as it is going to be taking place in just one big city. Hopefully it's one big seamless city, no load times or anything like that. That would be absolutely awesome. Now, let's talk about the game title. The game is called Pokemon Legends ZA. There is a character called AZ if you play the original. AZ, if you didn't know, is the former king of Kalos, and he essentially was at war, and during the war, he lost his Floette. His Floette died. He used the ultimate weapon to revive the Floette, but sacrificing all these other Pokemon to revive the Floette leaves him, and it's just really sad that the Floette doesn't love him anymore because of that, right? That's the general lore behind AZ. In fact, the game is named ZA. We're gonna see AZ in some way, shape, or form in here. It has to happen. It has to happen. Now, are we gonna be seeing his Floette? If you didn't know, his Floette is a special Pokemon. We haven't been able to get it in the past, but I do think the pink from this Floette, well, the Floette looks beautiful in general. It's a great color to it. But the Floette does have this pink to its weapon, its flower, which is symboling the ultimate weapon because it was revived by the ultimate weapon. This pink is very similar to the pink in the logo of Pokemon Legends. So we may see something to do with AZ's Floette this time around, and I'm incredibly excited what we see. I think it will happen. I think it's an easy gimme for them to do. Now, more theories. So if we look at the logo again, we see the futuristic aspect of the Z. But let's talk about the A. No one's talking about the A right now. The A is definitely more in the past. It's more natural. It sort of reminds me of a tree. It's green. It has something that looks like chlorophyll, chloroplast and all that in it. It has it looks like a leaf. This is a leaf texture to it. Now, what Pokemon could remind me of a leaf? Well, Generation 6 legendaries are very similar to Norse mythology. We know that Xerneas represents a tree, right? It has branches, it's very colorful, and even in the Pokemon manga, Xerneas is found in a dormant form as a tree. So if we want to talk about this potential theory, this is an old theory, by the way, Xerneas could be the A here. Could be representing the A as the World Tree. And Yveltal would be the eagle on top of the World Tree, which would bring destruction. And then Zygarde would be holding up the tree in general. It would be the roots. You can also look at it as, I forgot the name of the World Serpent that goes around the World Tree, and that comes back when Ragnarok happened. So there is some theories there with Valhalla type of things and Norse mythology, which is very interesting. But as we know, the logo does have some sort of tree aspect to it. So I do think something to do with a tree is going to be involved in Pokemon Legends DA. Something to do with the past and something to do with the future. But it does seem to take place in modern Pokemon society. And we're going to be rebuilding the city. And I'm excited to rebuild the city with all you today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any theories or anything you want to add. I love to read them. We'll definitely talk more about this game. It's going to be a long wait till 2025, but I'm incredibly excited. Of course, guys, if you like this type of content, enjoy these videos, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it. Catch you guys next time. Peace out and have a good one.